feel like Sheridan has been that partner. But for you, in terms of, I think about that you talked about almost 10,000 students who come from across the globe. And what is that like? How do community partnerships support your work in kind of building that thriving space, that thriving ecosystem for young people to, to find their place, to build their confidence? And it can't be easy as a child of immigrants. I appreciate, my parents came as adults, and I have to imagine as adults, you're a little more resourced to handle some challenges. But, for the population that's coming into our community, how do community partnerships support you?
Yeah. So I love that question because it'll give me an opportunity to really celebrate our partners who certainly support us, but teach and coach us every day. I would start by saying, Sheridan really prides itself on being an anchor institution. So I appreciate you using that language. We are big. We understand and appreciate our accountability for acting in service to the municipalities and the communities that host our campuses. But we can't do this in isolation. And one of the examples that I'd use is that people will know that Sheridan has a global reputation in creative space. So, many of our programs in animation, arts, and design are industry leading, some of them globally ranked in if not number one, then in the top kind of 10, 20 in the world. But we prepare learners for industry and for social engagement. And so, one of the realities is that we can provide both a theoretical context and the competencies to drive change, but our students in many instances are kind of living in this reality. They need to be prepared to engage with a world where the same values may be less progressed, they may be more progressed. Being an agent of change really is about the competencies to meet people or places, communities where they're at, and then kind of move them forward, right? So we see we are in the business of human development, and part of that is positioning our graduates to contribute positively to the change around them. So we have to model what that change looks like, and then we empower our graduates to go out and make this kind of awesome difference. We're one piece of an ecosystem. So, the example that I'd give you on partnership, Sheridan is deeply vested right now in improving the international student experience. And folks watching, listening, will no doubt have heard some of the media commentary on the international student experience. Listen, it is not okay what students are experiencing coming to Canada. When we talk about the promise, the transformational capacity of post-secondary education, if we fall short on our commitments to students, regardless of whether they're domestic or international in status, this is a blight on all of us. And I worry a lot about Canada's reputation on the global stage when we don't deliver on that. So our commitment to improving that experience has really been grounded in an understanding that we all have a role to play in positioning those students for success. So, we've been working on a charter, the Brampton Charter for Improving the Student International Experience. Again, it's grounded in partnership, reciprocity, accountability. Our partners on that, are just multiple. And they do so much of the heavy lifting, right? So Indus Community Services, Brampton Fire Services, Punjabi Community Health Services, the City of Brampton, the Region Appeal, William Osler Health System, Brampton Board of Trade, World Sikh Organization, Canadian Mental Health Association. Like, if we think about what the student experience really is when you're an international learner, and I studied abroad, I don't know about you, but what happens in a classroom really, really matters and has to be grounded in quality and integrity. But your experience is about citizenship and immigration. It's about housing. It's about food security. It's about worship and faith. It's about food, like not just food security, but can you access the food reminiscent of home. And so, we are very conscious that, for example, there is no responsibility in delivering international education if you don't provide, first off, healthcare. So all international students at Sheridan have mandatory health coverage. But we also deliver mental health services in a multitude of languages, in culturally appropriate ways, in partnership with community agencies. Lots of international students, there's tons of stigma about accessing mental health supports. You're worried about being deported. You're worried about your family finding out. It is no longer acceptable to think that the provision of mental health support that isn't in language of origin or as close to language of origin as possible, and in the absence of cultural sensitivity and awareness, that's not okay anymore. And so our solution to that is to do it in partnership with the agencies in Brampton, Peel, Halton, for whom this is core business. And so, really key, and really honestly simple.